mediocre.
Colorado is as basic as it gets.
They won one game this season.
Yeah, like if he would have went to, okay, he went to Auburn, he went to SEC. I kind of get it. If he would have went to regular Colorado, you left me for Colorado. That ain't even cuter than me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how women. Like you can't just cheat on your chick with a. He dropped JSU for basic Colorado. What up? It's Three Brothers, No Sense. I'm Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg. Join my co-host, Rozzy and Buff. But before I jump in with you fellas, I want to take a moment of silence. I want to kick it off really fast. I lost another family member this week. My youngest cousin on my dad's side died of an accidental shooting early Monday morning, so just want to take a moment of silence for my cousin, Little Vic.
Well, Ferg, before you do that, I want to add into that moment of silence because my cousin just lost her daughter to a car accident this morning. So wow. I just want everybody make sure you buckle up. Seatbelt save lives. She wasn't buckled up, got into a car accident, got ejected. So,
man, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. But yeah, I just want to jump in on that moment of silence as well.
All righty. Okay, we're back. Guess it's hard to kind of jump in after that, right? But fellas, who wants to go first?
Man. It wasn't but a short while ago we were talking about Deion and what he was doing, and we said if he leave we'd understand, but he'd probably get criticized, and my God, did we undersell the criticized part. Whoo, the hot takes that I have seen, my word. I don't know if you guys are going to talk about this, but I'll just say this. I find some agreement in both sides because I think he was getting about $400,000 at Jackson State, and Colorado is offering him $5 million. Whew, that's hard to turn down right there, bro.
Right.
That is so hard to turn down. But I get the criticism, and I do need to say that I am a lifelong Deion fan. I picked the position I played in park football because of him. I like Florida State because of him. So I do want to put that out there. So if anybody think I'm not criticizing him enough, then you have that to work with. But I do think he deserves some criticism because, yeah, you can say white coaches do this all the time, but he is the one that put himself as the figure that was going to try to change, not just, he made it bigger than just winning games at JSU. He made it as though he was trying to help out the entire SWAC and the entire HBCU culture to where you don't have to go to a PWI to be successful. A PWI isn't necessarily an upgrade. It isn't necessarily better. You can do everything here at an HBCU that you can there. And then his actions say the complete opposite. Now you can wrap it up and say, this is what God chose for me to go. Or what's the quote he said, that coaches, they either elevate or get terminated? I mean, yeah, I guess. But I mean, if you're winning, you're not going to get terminated. And if you're doing great things for the program, you're not going to get terminated. It's just disappointing. I'm not one to call, like, I've seen people call people coons for agreeing with him going to Colorado. I'm not going to go that far with it, but I am disappointed. I was really hoping, call me naive, I was really hoping that this was the beginning of something, that when the next young, hot coach come along, he wants to go to an HBCU, more and more top recruits want to go to an HBCU because of Deion and what he's doing and the success they're having. So it was disappointing. I get it, but he deserves some of this criticism because he made it seem like he was in there for the long haul. So I get it.
Yeah, man. I think it's one of those things that I'm not mad at him. I'm disappointed in him. And I don't want to count anybody's pockets or whatever, but I know it's hard to turn down $5 million, but when you're sitting on money like Deion's sitting on money, it's a very different conversation, right? You can follow your passion, follow your dream, and do something for the culture versus go find the money and go chase the money. And I get it. He was like, one of the big things was that he wants to upgrade his assistant coaching staff. So while it may not make a big difference for his money, it might be life changing for his assistant coaches, right? Where he's getting $5 million, his assistant coaches may be getting that $400,000 that he was getting as a head coach now. So that's a huge difference there. So I can get where he's trying to elevate his friend circle and what's going on with that and his homeboys, but it's one of those things that I do feel like I'm disappointed in him because he didn't stay and do it for the culture. But we just have to have somebody else that's just as dynamic to step up. I think Melvin said it best, right? Somebody has to step up and be that person that brings people to HBCU football and all that. That's not Deion, right? We need somebody who is SWAC, I guess is the best way to put it, to bring the attention and everything like that. And that's why I like UAB's pick, right? It's one of those things that they picked a coach that may not have a whole lot of coaching experience, but at the same time, he has a lot of connections. He's personable. He's going to bring attention to the program. So those are the things that I think it makes sense. I can't knock him for it, but I'm disappointed.
It does seem like he's made it harder for top recruits to consider going to HBCU because everything he sold, they can look at it as, well, are you going to do coach such and such is as soon as you get hot, you're going to leave and go to a bigger school. So why are you asking me to come do that? And you people don't want to hear it, but sacrifice, go to HBCU. How are you going to ask me to come there and you're going to do the opposite of what you're asking me to do right now should you get a certain level of success? So I think it's going to hurt. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's going to hurt recruiting for HBCU.
Man, you guys hit on some great points. Definitely is going to impact HBCU recruiting. So I'll say this. I get it. It's very easy for us to sit up here and criticize him. But most people I know would take that same offer, and we take a lot less than that every day to work the jobs we work. But I'm like you, Razi. I'm disappointed. I get it. $5 million is a lot. He did a lot for HBCUs. He did a lot for the SWAC, and I think his impact, if he would have waited 2 to 3 more years. Someone from FAMU posted this basically saying maybe his mission was complete. Maybe the mission wasn't complete, but maybe his mission was complete. Hey, I'm going to go there. I'm going to reestablish JSU football, bring some notoriety back to HBCUs and the SWAC. And that's all he wanted to do. I don't necessarily agree with that, but we don't know exactly what his goal was. Our goal was to prove to the world that we can compete. Young men, you can come here. You're not losing anything. And the way he left and when he left kind of undermined all that. So I'm going to read this post that I saw on somebody from FAMU, and I don't know if this is his post or he saw this somewhere, but it reads, imagine Hall of Famer Deion Sanders taking a meeting with JSU athletic director and asking him, what is he seeking in a head coach? Imagine the athletic director saying that he envisions JSU being a powerhouse in the SWAC and bringing more notoriety to JSU and HBCUs. Imagine Deion Sanders accepting this mission and agreeing to it for less money than he would make doing his own thing because he's the most marketable football player to ever play the game. Imagine that Deion Sanders brings his own sons and daughter, resources and coaches in to help him complete the mission. Imagine that Deion Sanders completes the mission and far exceeds any expectations that anyone, including the athletic director, had for him. If you talk to JSU leadership, they will tell you that Deion did everything they asked him to do upon hiring. Respect the fact he did it in 2 years. There are also times in your attempt to help your own that they are not willing to help themselves, but that is another conversation for another day. Finally, imagine your own people being mad at you for leaving once you complete the mission that you set out to do. Who are we to tell Deion or JSU when his mission was complete? Moral of the story, don't project your feelings and hopes on other people. You will be let down every time. That's all about that. So,
Mike, drop.
I get that. I agree with all that if that was his mission. But sometimes I feel like when you step into the world, you create a bigger wave or impact than you thought you would. And so it was when he put on that hat, he created a wave out there that unfortunately was bigger than I'm thinking he thought. And so the impact, would HBCU be better 2 years from now without Deion Sanders? That's arguable. Wow. Because now is he setting the HBCU college football back? Now did he kind of prove that, hey, you know, it sounds good to go to HBCUs, but in the end, we all want the white job. Because of the money, the resources and everything, the reasons he's leaving. That's all debatable. My main thing goes out to the students. So imagine Byron Evans, Orazio Mancarella were seniors in high school and they left Florida State. Byron grew up as a Florida State fan, but he's a Deion Sanders fan. So instead of going to Florida State, his love, the place he always wanted to go, he takes his talents to JSU to follow Coach Prime and everything that he promised and everything he promises to teach. Byron's a sophomore now. Coach Prime is leaving. Byron's at JSU. What about all the freshmen that he recruited this year? What about all the people who turned down scholarships and places to go other places because of him? So, and the reason I guess I take it personal is working with the Lamplighters. We have a lot of brothers and people who want to come out and say they're going to help. And that's the first thing I ask, can you commit? Because what I don't want you to do is promise these young men they get used to you, because they're following you. They're here not because the Lamplighters are that cool or JSU is that cool. They're here because of you in large part. And when you leave them high and dry, there could be a lot of consequences or repercussions for these young men. So,
I mean, I say you say that, but that's no different than any coaching change, right? I mean, that happens all the time when coaches leave and move and everything like that. I don't think that's something that's just on Prime's shoulders, right? That's on any coach that does recruiting.
5-star recruits.
I mean, yeah, but they can go in the portal and they're still 5-star recruits, right? With the SWAC championship on under their belt, right? Like that, they're gonna get recruited if they enter the portal and they're gonna go. They may not go to an Alabama now, right? But the one that decommitted from Alabama, he might not go to Alabama, but he may end up at Georgia or something like that. Like it's one of those things that based on what they need or whatever, they're gonna still pick that kid up if he wants to move. But
I don't see it working that way, sir. It's not that easy.
I mean,
it's only so many spots. It's only so many spots.
I get that, but what I'm saying is that is normal coaching staff changes. That's normal for when a coach leaves. That's not something that we got to put on, Coach Prime. What I will say is,
I think that's a cop out, sir.
We do though. We have to put
because they're making decisions they would have normally decided between coaching going to Alabama and Georgia because Saban leaves. That's one thing. We're saying you're going to a school that you may have never considered. We're talking about you've changed your whole dynamics. You could have been a all-star DB at a Power 5, somebody who's in the playoffs right now. Yes, great for your SWAC championship. But you've changed these boys, and you also, once again, have proven the point that, HBCU football is not all it's cracked up to be. I went for 2-3 years, tried it out.
I'd
rather go to a regular Colorado.
Mediocre mediocre.
Colorado is as basic as it gets.
They won one game this season.
Yeah, like if he would have went to, you know, like, okay, he went to Auburn, he went to SEC. I kind of get it. If he would have went to regular Colorado. You left me for Colorado? That ain't even cuter than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how women, like, you can't just cheat on your chick with he dropped JSU for basic Colorado.
That's what's funny. Because when they named the schools that were going after him, I immediately, like, ignored Colorado. I was like, well, he ain't going to Colorado. Like, I can see, like, if it was Florida State or Auburn or somebody, he ain't going to Colorado. But I think we put it on him, Rozzy, because he made it about him. He made it about him changing the culture.
He sold the dream.
Yes, he made himself to be different from the typical coaches that pick up and leave at the next best thing. And like Ferg said, it's not like he left for a historic university. He left for Colorado. Also, he's not the most marketable football player that ever played. That would be Peyton Manning. So I just wanted to put that out there. So he didn't, you know, he brought a lot of notoriety to JSU. He did a lot of good things. We cannot ignore the good things he did. He went, in 2 seasons, he went 23-1?
Yeah.
Back-to-back SWAC championships. So he definitely did a lot of good. But I think for me, it's just the things that he was preaching to us when he first went there, and how he wanted to change this culture, and how he wanted to prove the point that we're just as good as these PWIs, and the opportunities here are just as good. And it's like, as soon as this, like you said, as soon as this basic school comes along,
but she got a trust fund, Buff. Like,
he for a white girl. I mean, he ain't Kanye.
He claimed it wasn't about the bag. That's a lie. That's a lie.
Yeah. It's all about the bag. That's the only thing.
Yeah, like I can respect the fact that you have to do what's best for you and your family. I get it. You know, I've even heard some argument where his son's going to try to transfer as well, to get more publicity and stuff like that, play against more top. I get that. I love HBCUs. I love black people. I love my family more, hands down. But you also have to be willing to deal with this backlash, because you know Deion ain't gonna. He's gonna snap back. That's what's gonna be funny. This time next week, we're gonna hear about the snapback, because he's gonna play the game. He's gonna prime it. And he has to accept it. Like, I look at him, and people are going to be mad comparing him to any of these great leaders. But a lot of times, I think when people pick up the mantle, I don't think MLK knew he was going to be MLK, right? Mm-hmm. You don't start doing these things. You don't start becoming this movement with the idea of becoming a movement. But when you become a movement, sometimes the heavy is a crown that wears, heavy is a head that wears a crown. He had a heavy crown to be, like, he was making moves that I don't think he was prepared for, or thought he would be put in that position. And even if his exit strategy was 2 to 3 years, dude, like, man, you made the way you came in and promised these things, and you became prime god and HBCU this, and how I ain't SWAC. How you
This is how you aren't SWAC. This is exactly how.
And I love Deion. I love what he's done. I respect his decision, but I'm also disappointed in the results that's probably going to come from this.
Yeah, I can see that. I am fearful that there's going to be this step back and step away. It's going to return to the norm, I think, is the biggest thing. It's going to return back to that hierarchy of football. It's going to return back to, well, I'm not going to go to an HBCU if they aren't getting that notoriety. But you got to think, they're being televised now, right? That's one of the big things that happened.
Did the deal all the way go through? I think they were in talks of it. So that was another thing. They were in talks, because, like, think about what station was that? They were saying they were going to start airing HBCU football. So, okay, Deion's bringing all this. We're going to do this. The energy, the power, the marketing's there. We're getting ready to sign to ink the contract. Hold on. Let's see how this pans out. If you're CBS, if you're ESPN, are you going back? Are you continuing down that path to They may or may not. If they don't, I could see them like, you know what? There's been a pause on signing a TV contract for HBCU football. Let's see how this pans out. I could very well see that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that somebody else as charismatic or close to charismatic as Prime comes in and kind of picks that crown up. Because without that, HBCU will go right back to what it was, right? It being HBCUs loving it, and that's it.
And what's so crazy is he didn't change the level of the game. He just brought the notoriety that probably should have always been there. And yeah, JSU was a standout, but you had other powerhouses out there. You had other people. JSU destroyed FAM, but FAM, the only other game they lost was UNC. You know, you have colleges like North Carolina Central University, NCCU, that are out there doing their thing. It's sad that, you know, he made some promises to the young men who shifted their way of thinking to put their faith in him. It's sad that we didn't get to cross the finish line together. It's sad that it might hurt us more than it helped us, because now it further proved a point that HBCU football is inferior. Like, those are the things I'm scared of, because now and I don't believe that, but what I do believe is students are going to sit there like, well, why would I go Deion left?
Yeah, and I think going back to that, needing somebody that's as charismatic that can sell that dream. I think there's a big difference of Deion leaving for $5 million and you, who are a student athlete, that basically you get a scholarship. If you don't have an NIL deal, if you're not getting some extra money on the side, you know, it's not the same as, you know, the chasing the bag versus the level of effort, the level of talent, the level of exposure that you're going to get. That's what you're chasing as a student athlete. And if you can get some semblance of that, and that's why you need those primes and those very charismatic, you know, spokespersons for HBCU football. If we can get that, then you'll get that same exposure, notoriety, and stuff like that. That's where we can see that continued shift back towards HBCU football, and people will select HBCUs versus, you know, a group of five. I do think it's dead for a Power 5 person to go to an HBCU now. 5-star recruits that are getting recruited by Power 5s, they're not going to HBCUs anymore, right? Unless it's like my dad went there and, you know, my mom went there, I've got a history there, I'm going there. But other than that, Power 5, you might as well give it up. But a group of 5, I do feel like, you know, HBCUs can recruit with the 3 stars, maybe even a 4-star here and there, based off of that, if they're going to a group of 5 versus a Power 5, and that's the teams that you're competing with. So
it just looks like the PWIs didn't want him, and so he used JSU to build up his profile in coaching, and then left at the first chance. One other thing I want to say, though, Deion definitely deserves the criticism, but people in Mississippi, don't be more mad at him than you are at Brett Favre. Let's not forget what Brett Favre did. Okay.
Perfect close. So we just, I think that was a question. Like,
yeah, that definitely was a question. Besides that, let's take a step. Dog, outside of that, how's your week going? Like, Buff, that was your opening. I know nothing else going on with you guys. How were the holidays? How? Welcome back.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why MyLowe's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join MyLowe's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Yeah. Well, that was my opening. Go ahead, Rosie. What you got?
All class was awesome as always. I heard a little bit about it getting a little too ratchet for LaFleur towards the end of the night. So, Ferg, you were there. Maybe your thoughts. I boned out about 11:30 at 12 because for me it did start getting a little too ratchet for me. But that's just my PTSD type thing. Like
at 11:30, what time does it end?
12. 12.
It's 12? Oh, okay. So I think
it ended early because of the ratchetness. I heard they were extending the hours, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they were extending the hours, and then Miss McCade, Miss Dillahay, as we know her, got on the mic like, all right, thank you guys for coming out. Back this shit up. And so, but I did feel like it was getting a little more ratchet, I guess, than I expected it to be. But I equated that to the age gaps. You had some people there celebrating their 5-year high school anniversary. So
that's what I was thinking as well. Like I didn't take it as, oh my God, it's getting too ratchet for whatever. I wasn't feeling the music anymore, right? I wasn't feeling what everybody was doing anymore, and I'm a 41-year-old guy, right? And so when I got there at 8:00 or 7:30 or whatever before the band came in, they were playing best of the 90s hip hop. We were backing that ass up and all of that, and then by the end of the night they were playing mumble rappers and stuff, right? And so at that point I checked out. And so I think that's what we have to get used to, is that the alumni have to understand that you're talking about 70s all the way to the 2020s. That's a big gap when you're trying to have a single tailgate or a single pep rally, right? And party. And so I feel like it actually works, and the folks that are ready to leave need to leave, and the folks that want to stay and do that can stay. I think that's what we have to understand. You don't have to stay there and shut it down if you're 40 and 50 years old.
So what's the ratchetness? Just the music selection?
No. I realized it wasn't the place for me because it was a lot of tables, but you had a lot of people who were just
general admission.
I was going to call them Gen Pop.
Gen Pop.
They didn't look like they finished nobody's school. I realized when I saw, because it was funny, is because people had tables, had bottles and stuff at their table, but the people who didn't, I lost count of how many people I saw walking around drinking bottles of Douce. Like, Douce stock went up that week. Like, it was just random dudes, no chaser, nothing, just walking around taking bottles of Douce to the head, pouring Douce in chicks' mouths, and now like it's just like that's when I realized, like, this is
y'all with a Glorilla video.
That's all. Am I wrong? That's all I do. If you go to the bathroom, you gonna pass 12, 13 bottles of Douce, dog.
My God, that Douce is horrible. It tastes so bad.
It's so bad.
I can't wait till Jay-Z leaves them. He's close to leaving them, by the way.
Yeah,
and we can stop pretending it's good.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And so I just realized, I'm like, these people cannot have a table, because it just makes no sense to walk around with this just bottle of varying sizes.
Oh, but here's the most ratchet thing. They stole table decorations. Like, I had 2 sets of friends that they had decorated their table, and like chair covers, like upscale, like really nice stuff, and somebody stole all their stuff. It's like plate chargers, and I'm like, wow. That's how I was like, all right, it's time for me to go. But it was a good time. I really enjoyed it. I love my school. We're gonna bring the RV down next year, so we're gonna have an RV spot for the tailgate. So be ready for that. So yeah, it's gonna be dope.
I have to see if I'm gonna be back at the all class,
the pep rally. Yeah,
is that what that's considered?
Yeah, that's considered the pep rally. That's why the band comes in and all of that. And I was wondering, they didn't even bring the court in this year. So usually they bring the court in and, the person that raised the most money or whatever becomes the king and queen, that type of thing. Court didn't come through. The band was super small. So I don't know what's going on. There's some inner workings there. Maybe we can get some insiders from the school there. But even with that, it's still a huge event. It's still a huge money-making event. People were talking about, all these non-LaFleur graduates trying to come to the party and to the pep rally. I'm like, they're giving money back to our school. Ultimately, that's what it's about, right? We're throwing a party to make money for the school so we can give a check back to the school. And so I don't really care if all those folks are coming or not.
But all money ain't good money. If you want to maintain the image, the brand of your event, you don't always let everybody in. You don't
price
always
them out. General admission tickets go up to $50, $100 a ticket. Price them out.
Just sell to alumni. It's more than enough alumni that'll make it sell out every year. And if you want to still sell to other schools, maybe like that last week, double charge ass or something.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like sell alumni tickets, tables, and all of that. But general admission last day of.
But every year,
jack it up.
Every year,
how do you manage that?
Yeah, because every year I see alumni wanting tickets and having to buy tickets from people that never went to LaFleur but just bought a ticket because they know they can flip it for a few dollars profit. So I say just sell it to us, man.
Yeah, well, it comes down to how do you do that? We have an alumni list. You know who all has graduated from the school. I mean, wherever they're selling tickets or wherever they're selling tables, you got it, and I think that's a little bit of what happens though. Also, is an alumni buys a table and then they bring other people, right? So, but if you buy a table, then you're responsible for that table and those folks that come there. And I don't think most of the table people were the folks that we're talking about, right? And so that's why I think general admission tickets just need to be priced way higher, and that'll price out some folks. Oh man, we sound so entitled. People hate stuff like that when you talk about it. But
it's not entitled though. It's our thing. Okay, they chose to want to be a part of it, but it's our thing. So first dibs should come to us.
Which they did. The tables did, but I think you have to. Then you put a limit on general admission. It shouldn't be. I feel like it was almost 1-to-1 people walking around that didn't have tables to people who had tables. Right. And so at a certain point, it's okay if you sell almost 2,000, because we had almost 200 tables.
Yeah, something like that.
So 200 tables, you don't go sell another 1,500 general admission. You sell maybe another 500 or whatever. You just limit it. You have to limit it. Because I do want to keep the quality of the event. I do want Mobile to be able to celebrate LaFleur and its greatness and everything, the heritage of the school, Tomerville and LaFleur. But at a certain time, I'm scared it's becoming like the club let out. It's the place to be for Mobile, no matter, who you are, what you are, that, it's going to be jumping at the all class. And what's crazy is, now that I think about it, the people you're talking about price them out, those are the people that'll pay. Those are the people that's gonna pay. It's not the random person who happened to graduate from McGill or Viger or Blunt that wants to go celebrate with their friends or their coworkers that went to LaFleur. Those aren't the people who were acting out. So that's not my problem. Maybe it's just not, and maybe it's just not my event. I enjoyed myself for what it was worth, but that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, Definitely. So that man, that was good. Before we get off of that though, did y'all the leprechaun looking dude that from Chicago that everybody went after when he tried to talk about that? That's the thing. Like so many other people that I tell about All Class, they're like, "Oh my God, that's a great idea," and they're like, "I should talk to my alumni about that." So there's something special about All Class and that idea, and we need to be able to lean into that and that pride that we have in that. And it's not dude from Chicago. He made a post about like how do people have so much pride in their school? They must have peaked in high school or whatever. And it's not about that. Our school set us up for success, and so all the things that we were able to accomplish and do, a lot of that came from the friends we've made, right? We wouldn't be together if it wasn't for LaFleur. This podcast wouldn't happen. You guys wouldn't be listening to us. We wouldn't be as successful as we were if it wasn't for LaFleur and you know, the teachers that poured into us and set us up for success, and even the counselors that didn't invite us to the event, and so we couldn't get our scholarships. But we're not going to talk about that. There's something about the school in All Class that's special, and I don't want to lose that. So shout out to LaFleur alumni, shout out to the folks that's actually putting it on and putting it together, because I don't think any other school in the nation does it like we do it, and that's a big deal for us. So, you know, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of good stuff said. I'm not really going to cover much. I mean, I think we talked about a lot, so let's go ahead and grab Sophie. Let's jump into it.
Yeah, let's get a joke clear. Hold on.
Greetings, Sophia.
Greetings.
Hold on. I have somebody who wants to talk to you. Hey, there we go. Tell Sophia.
You're off mute.
Hi, Sophia.
Hi.
Goddaddy Rising and Buff, hey.
Hi.
Hey. What's
Hello.
up?
So Sophia has a joke for us. You think it's going to be funny? Okay, let's do it.
Okay, what do elves go to school to learn?
What do elves go to school to learn? We give up? We give up.
I give up.
The alphabet. It had nothing to do with the North Pole. You guys come up thinking about the North Pole.
She thinks that was a good one.
Good stuff.
I'll be back next week.
Thank
You want to hear a joke next week too, okay? Tell everybody bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you, Sky.
That was a good one by Sophie, though. I didn't get that. I wasn't gonna get that one.
I was thinking North Pole or something.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what an alphabet is, but it sounds funny. Let's go for it. So, but yeah. So I want to get into some relationship talk. I've seen a whole bunch of it's cuffing season or getting into cuffing season.
It's decuffing season right now.
Is it?
Right around the holidays. This when you break up. That's if you're toxic.
But yeah. No, but I saw a post that says you are not in love until you don't want to cheat. And I want to ask you, brothers, can you love somebody and cheat on them?
Oh yeah.
Plus
your question?
Plus loving and being in love are like two different things, aren't they?
Yeah, well, even if you can say I'm in love, like this is my spouse, this is my lady, or whatever. I'm in love with her. I want to be with her, but I'm a cheat, or I end up cheating every once in a while, and kind of going back to that cheating is bad episode where it's. Can you love them and be in love with them and still end up cheating on them?
Okay, so you changed your question a little bit. Okay,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. My answer hasn't changed. Most definitely. I think because, for one, I think the idea of love is so vague. You know, you can tell me I didn't love whoever I was dating in 1994, 1998. 2002, 2005. I loved my girlfriends as much as I could at that point, or as much as I knew how to. What I didn't know how to do, I didn't have the self-control. I didn't have it was more about me than my love for them. It was more about my insecurities and how I dealt with conflict and how I dealt with being in situations I shouldn't have been in, and that had nothing to do with how I felt about them. Now, I will say this. I can't compare the way I feel about Z to any of them. It's not even close. But she made me explore more of those things that caused me to cheat, because I not only did I loved her, I wanted it to work. I needed it to work. But do people love people all the time. It's just they don't know how to deal with the other things that go on in life. You know, we all know what we're supposed to do. We can't do it. We're not equipped to do it, or we just don't take the time. We're not intentional enough about doing it. So I think you absolutely can love somebody, or even be in love, or whatever you want to say. It's just, you don't know how to deal with your demons. You don't know how to deal with, saying no, FOMO, all those things are real too. They don't exist without it. It's not like, okay, because I'm in love, all these other feelings and emotions don't exist anymore. I feel like Byron's going to disagree with me, but let's go.
No, I actually agree. Cheating is, there's always varying instances, but cheating for the most part is just giving in to a temptation. Mm-hmm. And we give in to temptations all the time. So I don't think it has anything to do with love or lack thereof. It's just not having the discipline to resist that particular temptation. Now, sometimes it's other degrees. Like some people just don't give a just do it just cause. But most of the time, it's just giving in. So yeah, you can. Just like a lot of us love ourselves, but that don't stop us from, eating bad shit, smoking cigarettes, or whatever your habit is, destroying your body. It's just something that you give in to. So
you probably on average, people love themselves more than they love other people, if they want to admit it or not.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's why I said we know what we're supposed to do. We do bad shit all the time. Yeah. So I love me. Take your medicine or you're going to die. All right, doc. And then you don't take your like this is life or death. If you don't take your blood pressure medicine, you don't take your diabetes, you're gonna die. And it's like, all right, and guess what happens? Love is not the exception.
Yeah. For me, I don't know. I don't know if you can be truly in love and still cheat on that person. I think you can think you're in love. I think you can call it in love. Like you said it at first, or best first, you were like, something about Z. You said you were in love with those folks before, and you're in love with Z, but you're not going to cheat on Z, right? You found love. You actually found love. And so I think the issue is not necessarily that if you're in love, you fall to temptation or whatever. I really feel like people don't understand what love really is and what it really is to be in love unless they've gotten to that point where they're like, I don't want anybody else. Like, this is my person. Like, no temptation is going to get me out of that. Right? Like, that is really like truly being in love. And so I really feel like it's the definition or what people think being in love isn't truly what being in love is.
But you have to choose being in love every day, dude. Like, honestly, like you have to choose being a committed husband. You have to choose being a great parent. Like all the good stuff is just like all the bad stuff. You have to choose. So I say that, and I wake up every morning committed to being in love with my wife. But at the same time, I can't say 5 years from now if things shift. Like if, are those temptations, it could be the same temptation, but because of how she presents herself or how I'm presenting myself or what I'm going through, I might be going through something that I'm depressed and looking for an outlet. Like you just don't know. Like the same way I thought I was in love then, I know I'm in love, but I can't, the temptations might overpower my love because I'm of other factors. Does that make sense? Like you just never know how at my weakest in love, is it strong enough to overcome those temptations?
I think what Razi is explaining is, I think, Razi, you're playing the results. So someone can have a 20-year perfect record, of never cheating, and you say, oh yeah, he loves her or she loves him, and then they slip up one time, it's like, they wasn't in love after all. So you're like playing the results. Like you can love someone or be in love and have a slip up or whatever other factors. You have to remember, we're human beings, so it's great to say if you're in love, there's no way you should ever cheat. But I think we all know by now humans are very complicated. We're weak beings at times, and we give in to different temptations. If that was the case, no one would ever like do anything that's harmful or anything. So I think we're flawed, and like Ferg say, it's a daily battle. So each day you have to, like, you never 100% win that fight. It's something that you have to fight every day to be good at.
So is there a difference of like, I slipped up one time because of going through this, and I'm a habitual cheater? Can you like be an habitual cheater and still be in love?
It's a little different, because that speaks to what I was saying. Like, you got some people that just say F it and they're not even trying. Yeah. Versus, go ahead, Ferg.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a slippery slope. Maybe it's not even a slippery slope. Maybe we just don't want to say yeah. Like, maybe we're trying to, like, dog, if you're just cheating, like I'll put it this way. You can't. Because if you're intentionally hurting that person or doing something to hurt that person for your own gain, you can't love them the way you think you do. Right? You can't just like, oh, I'm going to the club tonight. There's over there. Okay, bet. Got it. I mean, it is. I mean, so you can't just, you're opportunistic.
Yeah.
You're putting your wants and temptations ahead of everything. If you truly love that person and you know that every time you go out, like you're more focused on the opportunity of getting with somebody else than you are protecting that one person. Now, like I said, just being realistic, if you're going through something, and I'm not trying to make an excuse, but life, like Ryan said, we're infallible. We're human. We're human. So things happen where, I've been depressed, losing my grandmother and my dad all in the same, week and a half span. Now, it didn't cause me to cheat, but like I was at my lowest on some issues. Like I couldn't function right. Like I was just irritated. And so it could drive me to drinking. It could drive to drugs. It could drive to anything, like this is how those things happen, where you find yourself in those situations. And if you don't get help and work through it, then yeah, you can go down that slope. But just like, man, can't wait to homecoming. Can't wait to All-Star weekend. Can't wait to this weekend. Nothing going on, but it's just the weekend, right? So it is what it is. But that's real. There's people out here married, divorced, like people cheat because they just, the idea of being with somebody new is more appealing to them, or more fulfilling to them than protecting the sanctity of their marriage, the sanctity of the person they love, and all that stuff. So,
and then when you get into the whole conversation of, can we just have an open relationship, or that type of thing? Like, so I feel like more women are probably a little open to that than we would lead on, if they could do it too, right? The issue is guys want to have an open relationship, but want the woman to be faithful at the same time.
Oh yeah, my frail male ego, I say that all the time. You can title the show for all I care, but like I can't deal with that. Not even close, buddy. Nope.
I got
even in death, I need Z to become a nun.
I got a wonderful Three Brothers post that's coming up in a few weeks that speaks to this. Like, if your girl cheat on you, before you forgive her, remember this, and that. So it's funny.
But it hurt thinking about it. Man. All right, Buff, what you got for us, man?
Hey, Fidelity. What's it cost to invest with the Fidelity app?
Start with as little as $1 with no account fees or trade commissions on U.S. stocks and ETFs.
That's music to my ears.
I can only talk.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Sell order assessment fee not included. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a transaction-based service fee of $100. See full list at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Good night, itchy eyes. Good night, sudden sneeze. good night to your symptoms of allergies. Xyzal is the allergy medicine you take before bed. It provides powerful relief while you rest your head. Not just all night, but all the next day. Xyzal keeps working, keeping allergies at bay. And without those annoying symptoms disturbing your rest, you can wake up the next morning feeling your absolute best. Remember, be wise all, take Xyzal at night.
So we started off talking about Deion. I want to go back to athletes. Because I was looking at this Instagram post, and I sent it to you, Razio, if you want to add the audio in the show. But it's Muhammad Ali talking about, I don't know what the question that was asked, but he's pretty much saying that if there are 10,000 snakes and 1,000 of them are good, but all 10,000 are coming at me and I can close the door, do I just leave the door open because, hey, there's 1,000 good ones in there? And he was relating that to racist white people, and saying that, yeah, there are some good white people, but there are a lot of racists. And then you look at this past week with what LeBron said about, not necessarily about Jerry Jones, but about the Jerry Jones photo and criticizing the media. It just got me to thinking, do you want your athletes speaking up and speaking out like Muhammad Ali of the past? And the second part of that question is, will we ever have an athlete like that to speak out? Because I think I sent you guys this post a few weeks ago, and you guys were like, nah, LeBron is maybe the closest to it, but we'll never have anyone that'll speak out like that. So is that something that we even want? And if so, do you think that can ever happen?
So long as they not Kyrie.
Oh man,
that's the issue, right? Is that, do I want them to speak out? Yes, but the problem is I want them to be educated and understand what they're saying, right? And the impact and all of that. Because truthfully, the thing about it is, Muhammad switched, right? Ali switched his rhetoric once he broke from the Nation of Islam, or a little bit of it. So he was down with the Nation. He stayed with the Nation after Malcolm X left, but he did start softening a little bit towards the end. But I think he understood who he was talking to, his audience, and he was speaking from a place that made sense. I think there's way too much misinformation out there for us to just blanket say, yes, we want all of our athletes speaking out because of that, right? There's going to be the folks who understand. There's going to be folks that go down the rabbit hole and follow whatever like conspiracy theories Kanye is following. And so we have to be very careful about saying, yes, all of them. I would never say shut up and dribble. I would never say, hey, don't go out and use your platform. But I do want that. But I don't think anybody's going to be as powerful as a Muhammad Ali. Truthfully, it could have been a Coach Prime or somebody like that. Somebody, we talk about charisma and has the be able to go on and articulate well and make a point, tell a story. I don't know how many athletes can do that. Right, that's very difficult to find. Boxing is probably one of your best ones, right? Because they have to market their matches themselves, right? It's all about them and how they kind of go out and do it. So they have to be more charismatic a lot of times than some of your team-based athletes and things like that. So I think if it does happen, it'll probably come from more of a single player type of sport, kind of like your boxing or something like that. When it comes to team sports, I don't think many people say, yeah, you go out and kind of have your own platform and do your thing as a team sport person. And so, yeah, I do think LBJ or LeBron might be the like probably best example of that in our era. I don't see too many other people coming out on doing that, but I do think some of these new younger kids that are coming out nowadays, that they with these NIL deals and stuff like that, probably could have or will do it, because when we talk about Kaepernick, right? Kaepernick probably was the best example of speaking out for us, and you see what happened. They set a precedent with him. So people know that if I do speak out too much, I'll get canceled and all that. So they have to toe that line. And so that's another reason why when you have your boxing and stuff like that, where they promote their own things, they don't have to worry about that as much, because they can't get benched. They can't get sidelined, right? I go out, I box, I do my thing. If I knock somebody out, you can't deny me, right? Right. Versus, you can put me on the bench or you can cut me or whatever. So there's that too. So I don't think it's going to happen. I don't see anybody kind of stepping up, but I'm hopeful. I do want it.
So, unlike Rozzy, say what you got to say, because nobody else has to censor themselves. Why should an athlete? Why should Kyrie have to censor himself if Trump doesn't? Dude's a fucking president of the United States. He said what the hell he wanted to say. If anybody should censor themselves, it should be the leader of the free world. Not somebody you see as a person you want to shut up and dribble because they disagree with you. Do I agree with Kyrie? No. I feel like, they should be able to speak out. The world we live in, everybody has a voice. Everybody has a voice. Now, I will clarify, for me, I think speaking up and taking a stand are two different things. If my athletes speak up or not, I really don't, have something to say. I may never look at a Anthony Davis post or interview of his. I don't know what the hell his stance is on anything, his views. But when there's something where we need representation, I expect them to, the same way I would want them to stand up or stand out for those things. When we were talking about police brutality and stuff like that, when it was these things that we needed somebody on a larger scale to represent us and show solidarity, similar to Kaepernick and, the kneeling and everything that a lot of the players did. I hope to see that more. Will we see it on the level of Muhammad Ali? No, because there's too many distractions. It's everybody has a voice now, and so they weren't interviewing all these other random black athletes. Muhammad Ali got the mic because he was a boxer and he had to promote himself. Everybody has a Twitter page. How many athletes make a post every day? Nobody cares, unless it's something controversial or whatever. Athletes make a post every day. Thousands of athletes, male, female, transgender, everybody makes posts, unless it's something jarring or, like the whole Jerry Jones thing. That's when it gets publicity. And I was following you. I disagree with you when you said it had to be a boxer or something like that, or a single sport. Then I kind of was feeling you, but I go back to no, because I feel like the publicity or the people follow clubs. So the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, because you're a Cowboys fan, or you're a Cowboys hater, or you're an NFL fan, is why Dak making a statement is going to have more impact than a Tyson Fury making a statement or a Wilder making a statement. Because if you're not LeBron making these people have the power because they have the support and the staff of the club. The quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys or the Indianapolis Colts or whoever, you look at the team, not just the person. You look at what they represent. And especially if they make a statement that's kind of out of the norm, that could potentially get them in trouble, what would it take for Patrick Mahomes to say something, speak out, that could possibly bench him? So when he says something like, man, I can't believe Patrick Mahomes just said that, like, maybe he's going to lose his job. Maybe he's going to get benched for a little while. What's going to happen? Like,
Oh, no, I want to clarify. I want them to. I think they should. I don't see it happening. That's what I mean. I don't see it happening because of the team.
Those, and so that's my thing. That's why I think they would have the biggest. The biggest impact would come from that. So you brought up Kaepernick. The reason Kaepernick was so big is because of everything that happened while he made his stance. He got benched. He wasn't getting re-signed. All those things made the story bigger than what he said, because at the end of the day, he really didn't say people put words in his mouth. They made the story because of everything else. If a fighter came out and didn't stand for, do they even do the national anthem at a boxing match? Or like, this person didn't stand for the national anthem, he kneeled. That'll be a one-day story. Either you're going to watch the pay-per-view, he's not going to fight for another 4 months, 5 months, and you move on. The question is, the week before, will he stand this time? That's it. Buff, what do you have for us?
So Kaepernick is interesting because, like, he did speak in the beginning because he was getting all the questions of why were you sitting or why were you kneeling during the national anthem, and he spoke and he kind of messed up a little bit in Miami, but overall he hasn't said much. It's like Ferg said, people were just speaking for him. We rarely heard from Kaepernick. I think when Ali did it, it was a different time. Like, boxing was the premier sport, so to speak, especially heavyweight boxers. And, he just had that platform that I think boxers don't have today. Overall, I agree. I want our athletes to speak up and speak out, even if we don't agree with them. But will we ever get anything like an Ali again? I'm going to say no, but we can if they choose to. I know a lot of people say, well, black athletes can't speak up because they'll mess up their career or this, that, and the other. I hear that, but I just feel like when you have, yes, he is white, but still, when you have a mediocre wide receiver like Riley Cooper, who, was at a concert saying he wanted to fight every nigger in there, right? And he still was able to play another 2 seasons, a guy that was averaging like 33 catches a season, 3 touchdowns a season. He said that and still stayed in the league another 2 seasons. Then I think a superstar like LeBron James or a superstar like Steph Curry or a superstar like Patrick Mahomes can say what the hell they want to say and not jeopardize their career. If a guy that has that level of talent can say he want to fight every nigger and have 5 years in the NFL.
It's what he said and who runs the league. That's the difference.
That's the difference, but those owners want to win. You know what I mean? So I just think that, a superstar can speak up. I just don't think they will because of what you said. Like, they are aware of the power dynamic. Now, I agree and disagree with some of what LeBron said at his presser about Jerry Jones' photo. He mentioned he has the power. I don't think LeBron has power. LeBron has leverage, but he doesn't have power. Power is the person that gets the final say-so on what happens. Leverage is LeBron going to that person with power and saying, I think this is what you should do. The person with power decides whether or not they listen to him or not. LeBron doesn't really have power, though. So we're not going to see it again. That's pretty much my answer. we're not. We could, but we're not.
Cancel culture is too great.
But can't you think so? Like, if LeBron went way out there, you think he could be canceled?
Yeah.
He'll still play basketball. Sneaker deals will be gone. It'll tarnish his image. It's just
yeah.
It hurts the players. It hurts everybody. And
he would have to be willing to. How long was Ali out when they didn't let him box? Like, he'd have to be willing to do things like that. Like, that's what made Ali so special, right? And that's what made Kaepernick so special. It's like, I'm willing to give it all up because I know you probably will try to take it from me.
And now, like, if LeBron did that today, and let's say backlash, that's why he's washed up anyway, and all. Like, it's just
it's not the height of his.
Can Giannis do that today?
Right.
The most dominant player in the NBA right now, and just say, it's scary. I mean, but even like LeBron is probably in a prime position to speak out. If he doesn't re-sign another, maybe he has one more season or 2. Okay, I'm done. And on his farewell tour or after that, he becomes a a speaker and he talks about these type things, I think some of our athletes, maybe they had to plan it better instead of everybody going into wanted to go into commentary and stuff like that. You become a public speaker,
right? But
like
LeBron isn't charismatic as an Ali. LeBron can speak. He could speak on it, but he's not gonna attract the attention because he's not as colorful, because he's not as outspoken. Like it's different coming from a corporate it's very different.
Would you want to hear somebody doing that today?
Not that, but we talked about Prime, right? We talked about Prime. Prime is the perfect example of that. Like, if Prime spoke out on something and gave it up, he has that charisma to keep you engaged when he talks about it. It doesn't have to be running the dozens like Ali did or whatever. That was cool back then. He can do it in a way and still use that charisma and do it in a way that is relevant today. But LeBron doesn't have that. Like, he's not that guy, right? That's what you need, and it's hard. And that's what made Ali so special, is because he had the brains, the intelligence. He understood the plight. He was willing to speak on it, and he was charismatic, and people just were attracted to him. It's like he was the perfect storm, and so I don't see it. It's going to be oh my God, lightning in a bottle moment if we get it again, because you have to bring all those things together again in a single person.
Okay, I get it. And Coach Prime, if you disagree with anything we said on the show, or if anybody wants to get this message to Coach Prime and he would like to speak out and speak his voice, tell him to contact us at 3 Brothers No Sense.
Yeah, we need to try to get him on.
Yeah. At gmail.com. Yeah. And you can also listen to us on Inspire You on air every Monday night, 10 p.m. The new beat of the day. There we go. Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and close it out, fellas.
So good, so good, so good.
Get ready, because it's time to save at your Nordstrom Rack store. Now through February 23rd, take an extra 40% off red tag clearance boots, jackets, and sweaters. We're talking the best cold weather styles from Vince, Cole Haan, Sam Edelman, and more. All on sale for even less. All sales final. You never know what you'll find, but you know it's gonna be so good. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
You know what's smart? Enjoying a fresh gourmet meal at home that you didn't have to cook. Meet Factor, your loophole in the laws of mealtime. Chef-crafted meals delivered with a tap, ready in just 2 minutes. You know what's even smarter? Treating yourself without cheating your goals. Factor is dietitian approved, chef prepared, and you plated. Pretty smart, huh? Refresh your routine and eat smart with Factor. Learn more at factormeals.com.
Razio just mentioned Inspire You on air, the new beat of the Bay. So we want to definitely give them and the audience that listens to us on them a huge shout out. We thank you guys. Encourage other people to download the Inspire You app for free. Check us out every Monday night. But I also want to give a shout out to just the listeners in general. We got some statistics back. Spotify in particular, we're like the top 10% of podcasts shared worldwide. And we actually, maybe you guys know what to say now, but when we saw that like, we were speechless, man. So just, we tell you guys thank you all the time. I hope it doesn't sound like just like an empty platitude. We really mean that. Thank you. It's a billion podcasts out there. The fact that you guys are choosing us to listen to means the world to us. So thank you. We ask you to continue to share the show. Tell people about it. Get some merch. You know what I mean? Wearing our hoodies and our shirts and stuff. That helps get the word out. 3brothersnosense.com. Get some merch there. But just thank you. We've more than doubled our Instagram followers in the last couple of months. We went from like 535 followers. I think we're close to like, I don't know, 1,200 or so. So we've been growing. We saw a lot of growth the second half of this year. And I'm not stupid to admit that it probably began with the Eugene Goodman interview. We'll take it. But we'll take it. You guys stuck around, and just thank you. That's all I got to say. Just thank you.
Yeah, I'll just echo that. Jason David Frank, I don't know if you guys know him. He's the original White Ranger or Green Ranger, went to White Ranger. But he is like, my childhood in a nutshell when it comes down to, I had to get home so I could watch Power Rangers. And he died of suicide last week. So that's a big deal. Like, no matter how big somebody is, we talk about our heroes and everything like that. Check on the folks that are strong, man, or the folks that look like everything is going well. Make sure you're checking on them so that, you can, that was a sad one for me. That one hit home for me. But again, echo what Buff said. Thank you guys. As we go into the holidays, want to talk about that suicide prevention and what's going on with that. And finally, I just want everybody to go out over the holidays and serve people. That's a little bit of what we try to do here is get word out, have conversations, entertain you guys, inform you guys. But we also go out and we serve. You hear us talk about it a lot, right? The lamp lighters and what we do, and Buff and his speaking engagements, big time speaker for protecting the Capitol and stuff. But we love to serve, and we want you guys to go out and serve and give back to your community somehow, however you can in any capacity. So that's all I got, man.
Well, perfect, fellas. I don't have much. It's been a pleasure doing this podcast this year with you guys as usual. Thank you, as my co-host said, to our listeners. When I saw that, I had to look at it a couple of times to make sure they were talking about us and I was reading it correctly, and was just downplaying like that. This can't be real,
Yeah,
but
just to clarify on that, that's not just on Spotify. So Spotify bought Anchor, and so that Wrapped episode is actually from all podcasts that are hosted on Anchor, which is the biggest podcast and hosting platform. So when we say top 10%, that's a big deal, not just from on Spotify, because Apple is the biggest platform to listen, but still, it's huge.
So I'm even more impressed now.
Right.
But thank you guys once again. Like Razi said, suicide prevention, check on your friends, talk to people. It's been a crazy year once again for my circle. A lot of us are entering first or second times, missing people for the holidays, and I don't think it ever gets easier. Whatever the case may be, check on people. It's a lot going on out there, man. Stay safe. If you need somebody to talk to, please reach out. I think, Raz, we can provide the suicide prevention hotline, all that information on our show.
Yep.
But once again, Three Brothers No Sense. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.